Hey everyone, this is Jax from Jack's Literary Corner, and it's time for another episode where I discuss some of my Are You Afraid of the Dark favorite episodes. So the last one I did, which it was just one episode where I talk about only one episode. This one I'm going to go back to talking about 2 episodes at a time. So first, I'm going to talk about the tale of the Dollmaker. And as I said in the previous video, this one is told by one of my favorite members of the Midnight Society, Mary Beth. And like I said, she tells a lot of interesting stories and a lot of my favorite stories. So this one is, we have our main character, Melissa, who she's going, well, her mom and dad are, I think, archaeologists or scientists or something. So she, not wanting to get, because it's kind of boring and everything, she decides to go visit her aunt and uncle to stay with them for the weekend while her parents are traveling. And the best part is her friend Susan next door will be, her best friend is Susan, lives next door. So the two of them every summer they get to hang out together and play and stuff. But unfortunately, when she gets there, she finds out that Susan and her parents have moved out. They have moved away, and that her aunt and uncle are looking after the house. Which is really, disappoints and upsets Melissa because, well, hanging out with your older aunt and uncle is not exactly fun, because then you'll just do things like bingo and, yard work, and it's kind of boring for Melissa. So then she all of a sudden, she's looking out the window and she sees across the way that there's movement at Susan's house, thinking maybe Susan came back. So she decides to go next door, which, that's kind of a little messed up. But I guess if her aunt and uncle have a key, she can do it, I don't know. But, so she now sneaks over there and checks out the house and stuff, but no one's there. And then she sneaks up and discovers the attic, the door to the attic. So she creeps up there and sees, all this junk and stuff, and sees this really cool dollhouse that looks like a replica of her aunt and uncle's, her Susan's house. And then, just as she's about to notice this door against the wall, a mysterious, creepy door, she hears her aunt coming up. And, is like, "Oh, Susan, I don't want you playing over here. You shouldn't be over here." And she says, "Oh, I thought I saw Melissa. I thought maybe Susan and her parents had come back." And she's like, and her aunt's like, "No, you probably just saw me." So her aunt, not wanting Melissa to investigate any further, she tells her the sad truth, which is Susan had disappeared, and the parents could not be able to bear it anymore. And the fact that their daughter had not come back, they leave the house into her aunt and uncle's care, feeling very heartbroken and devastated their daughter has gone missing. So, but of course, Melissa is a little suspicious about this. She's not sure if she believed this. So she decides to head back and investigate. And then she once again gets up to the attic and decides to check out the door. The mysterious door. So just as she's about to open it and go through, her uncle shows up and stops her. So she opens the door, and the door does not lead outside, but it leads into this bright hallway. And she sees Susan walking absentmindedly through the hall and calling for Melissa. And just as she's about to step through into the hallway, her uncle shows up and grabs her and snatches her and pulls her away. And she's like freaking out. I was like, "I just saw Susan. I gotta get Susan. She's trapped in there." And her uncle's like, "Calm down, Melissa. Look." And he takes her to the window, to where the door is, and looks down, and the door leads to outside. When she looks. So her aunt and uncle not wanting Melissa to do something stupid and jump, which, okay, I get that. You don't want your you don't want your niece to go jumping off and breaking her neck. I mean, I don't think her parents would be very pleased with her, brother or sister-in-law letting that, their brother or sister letting that happen. So Melissa is determined, Melissa expresses that she saw Susan and everything, and her aunt's like, no, you don't know what you're talking about. You did not, it was probably just your imagination. So she asked her husband, Melissa's uncle, to board up the door. But of course, and that night, she overhears her aunt and uncle talking, and finds out that Susan's mother had said it was the house that got her. That was the last thing she said. But of course, Melissa's mom is like, no, she was distraught with grief. She wouldn't know what she was saying. And her uncle is a firm believer that she might have known what she's talking about. So Melissa is determined and goes back to the house once again, breaks into the house, grabs the key, steals the key from her aunt and uncle, and breaks into the house. And she goes up to and makes her trip up to the attic, and goes and walks through the door, and of course it leads to the mysterious bright hallway. And it's very mysterious and creepy because the hallway looks exactly like their house, like a miniature replica of the house. So she goes in and finds and she finally finds just as she sees, while she's in the house, she feels vibration like an earthquake and looks out the window and sees her aunt rummaging through the attic, probably looking for Melissa, freaking out and thinking that maybe she came back here. And then she's trying to get her aunt's attention, but then she hears a voice and saying, "It's no use, she can't hear you." And she finds out it's Susan. And her face is all white and pasty looking, and her skin looks really chalky and everything, and her eyebrows look drawn in, and then you realize she is slowly turning into a doll, which is so freaky, And Susan realizes that that's going to happen to her if she doesn't figure out a way out of this mess and get them out of there. And she, after some figuring things out and searching around the house, she finds out from Susan that it's connected to the attic, and that's the only way to get out. Because again, the house is an exact replica of her real house. So Melissa, who's, her hands are starting to get all chalky white, and Susan is starting to turn, becoming more and more doll-like. So she carefully takes Susan up to the attic in the dollhouse, and makes their way up to the attic, and has to jump through the window, which looks like it's outside. Jumps through, and then, lo and behold, she has escaped, and they are free, and and Susan is alive and well, no longer a doll. And my first thought was, Susan broke her hand. The hand broke off of Susan's body, so it's wouldn't she have not had a hand anymore? But of course, no, it's kids. They're not going to show someone that's handicapped and has no physical hand anymore because it broke off when she was a doll. This episode was so strange and mysterious, and I wanted more from this episode. And I also wanted to know the deal with the dollhouse. What was going on? Why was it doing that? How did they get that house? Did they get it from maybe a gypsy or a sorcerer or something? Or a sorceress? Or a witch? I found that just really interesting. I wanted to know the deal with the house, and I wanted more from the story. The acting, again, the acting was okay, But although the girl played Melissa, I think she played the voice of a character on Arthur. I think, if I remember correctly. Okay, so next episode I want to talk to you guys about is the the episode, The Tale of a Badge. So this was, this is another episode where I was more intrigued by the concept and the story and the plot itself than the actual actors performing the plot. But the makeup was pretty good and pretty creepy. You know, some of the makeup on the villain of this episode. This is a tale told by Gary, the leader of the group. And I think this was one of his last episodes before the show was canceled and they changed over to the new group led by Tucker. But this is about a girl named, let me see if I can think of her name. Gwen. And she finds out that she is the episode starts with her birthday and her grandma, she's celebrating with her parents and her grandmother. But then, just as soon as she's blowing out the candles and getting ready to cut the cake, her brother shows up having won the science fair. And right away you can tell that she doesn't like her brother bursting in on her, the thing that when it's supposed to be about her, and then her brother shows up and shows her up and makes, like her perfect annoying little smart ass brother. Again, another character on an episode that I want to smack. I mean, there's so many kids on these shows that I just could not stand, and I hate it, and I want to smack them and shake them. Maybe even strangle them. I couldn't stand some of these kids in these episodes. Some of them I liked, and some of them were kind of adorable, and some of them were just, like I said, I want to shut them up. So, Gwen has, and her grandmother, who senses that Gwen is a little insecure and jealous and does not like being shown up by her brother, comes to talk to her and presents her with a gift. A special gift. She presents first with a book about, a special book, and with this necklace with a huge stone on it called a jasper. And she also presents her with this magic flute. This wooden flute. And just as she's about to, talk about, you are very special, this is important, and just as she's about to tell the story of what these things mean, her mom shows up and, is telling her, is like, I heard you from your teacher that you quit the band. And, Gwen is like, I'm no good, it's a waste of time and everything, and, her grandma says, no, you shouldn't quit, music is your gift. And that's what this part of the themes of this episode is about, gifts and special talents that people have. So anyway, that night while her mom and dad, her grandparents are going, they have stuff to do and everything, she snuck babysitting her brother Trevor, the annoying little smartest that I want to snack. Who even Mr. I know Latin, I'm so superior because I know Latin and Greek. Yeah, it's Greek actually, because he corrected because she said, or was it? No, actually it was Latin. She thought he said Greek, but it was actually Latin, I think, because she called him Greek boy. I think, yeah. So then the little smart ass, after I can't remember when he heard it or heard about his grandmother talking about, but he sneaks into his grandmother's room and finds the magic flute, the box with the magic flute inside of it. And, of course, being the nosy little boy he is, he decides to play it. And it makes this really loud, not noise, but it's kind of cool, like a bunch of flutes playing at the same time, this strange little effect. And outside the windows, you can see mist rising outside, And you come to find out that after he played that, something very whimsical, mysterious happened, and he set this strange creature free, this monster free, and that was keeping, that Gwen's grandmother was keeping, was the guardian of the creature and making sure it didn't go out. So you have this creature that's looks like, talks like Yoda and looks like a bat and looks like, like I don't know. he looks like a badger, which his name is Badge. So when he keeps asking Gwen for this mysterious center when he's freaking around and everything, and he's like, center when you must have, give me center when you must give me, and I can't do it. Someone else can probably do this better than I could. And so he's like, give me center when you must, and your brother you will save, or something. Something like that. He basically kidnaps her brother. So she realizes that she has to, that this might be some connection on what her grandmother's trying to tell her, because she ends up looking through her grandmother's stuff in her book and everything, and sees that her grandmother is the current center one who trapped this badge creature. And that she has to play, she has to use the Jasper Stone to defeat Badge. But unfortunately, she goes into his creepy little lair that's like really just frigging creepy. So, tries to, recites a little poem, thinking that she can stop and hold the Jasper up, with intention to trap Badge, but it doesn't work. And just as she's trying to, her grandmother returns and is all, and arrives and like sends her back through the doorway and is like, play the song, Gwen, play the song, and so she discovers that she discovers that Badge, that his names represent music notes. So she plays the flute. She's playing the flute while her grandmother and Badge are confronting each other. And then he's like all cocky and stuff, stop me, you will not. And, realizes the power of the Jasper no longer is in Willie's hand. Her grandmother is Wilhelmina. Is no longer in Willie's hands, and that it's been passed down to Gwen. And she successfully traps the monster and saves her little brother. And I suck at telling. My dad is so much better at telling stories. I'm good at writing, coming up with the ideas. But it's the telling the stories that I suck at. So like I said, this one, it was more about the concept itself. That's the idea of the magic and stuff was really cool. And I kind of liked the creature, the Badge creature. I thought he was kind of creepy, and I like his little Yoda type voice. I thought that was really cool and really creepy. The acting was okay, and I liked the little mythology they came up with, the Setterwind magic and everything. I thought that was really cool. Like I said, I went to smack her little brother, Trevor. I couldn't stand that little punk. No one likes a smart-ass kid. Just because you know things does not mean you need to brag about it and act like, Oh, I definitely get why, she's all like, Sam, my face, little Greek boy. Definitely get it. I'm not a big fan of the actress, though. The actress who played her. She was in another episode. And her voice, I hate to say it, but it's kind of, it's the tones of her voice I don't like. They kind of bother me, and they're kind of, I don't like to say this word, but annoying. It's the only thing I can come up with. It's just the tone of her voice, it's just, it's kind of, it's like, I don't like it. And it kind of gets in the way of appreciating the acting and the performance and everything. I mean, she's okay of an actress, it's just, her voice bothers me. The sound of it, I don't really like. Other than that, the episode, really, a lot of these episodes, it was more the story itself. And the concepts and even if they're badly acted and the special effects aren't very good. And it's also a nostalgia thing, because I grew up with this show. Anyway, so those are really all my thoughts on those two episodes. So, if you guys like this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up and click subscribe if you have not already. And I hope, as always, you are enjoying your reading, and I will talk to you all later. Alright, bye!